Hey yo friends, how's it going? Ash here, welcome back to Gents. Today what we're doing is we're taking a look at what the fragrance community considers the 10 best fragrance releases for men of last year. So the top 10 fragrances from 2023, the absolute best as voted on by all of you. Which means that this is 100% completely accurate, scientifically correct. There is no chance that any of this could be potentially incorrect or controversial. No. I'll have all of these linked down there in the description, so feel free to check out the results down there as well. And I'll tell you how I got the top 10. I'm also gonna do the top 10, or would it be the bottom 10, worst fragrances of the year in another video. But we're keeping it positive today, see? I'm sorry. So what I did is I went to everybody's favorite website, Fragrantica. So I went on there and I searched 2023 fragrances for men. I know that they had incorrectly listed some fragrances for 2022 that were actually 2023, but it didn't affect these rankings. And I basically just went through each one by hand of the major releases. So it's possible that there's a release that only got a few votes that is somewhere in here or would be somewhere in here, but I only looked at the major releases, or more like moderate releases up to major, we'll say. And I looked at the overall ranking on there, the score, and then took the top 10 and here they are. So as I said, highly scientific because we're dealing with numbers and like math, algebra, just multiplication, addition, highly scientific. So with all that out of the way, let's kick it off with what the fragrance community at large considers the number 10 best major or moderate release for men for last year. Spice Bomb Infrared Eau de Parfum, which honestly was kind of a surprise to me when I started looking through all the scores. And I will say that the scores are accurate as of this video. In the future, if you check this, they're gonna be different. Potentially a little higher, a little lower, but as of right now, this is where everything stands. I absolutely did not expect this to be ranked in the top 10. I didn't expect it to be ranked in the bottom 10 or anything. I just didn't expect it to crack the top. Now it is a solid scent. It's easily worn. It's a compliment puller. It's quite sweet. And I do think that it's better than the Eau de Toilette. And I think it's better than Night Vision that came before it, the 2 Night Visions. But yeah, still a surprise. And I will say that this fragrance annoyed me a lot when it first came out because I ordered it brand new from Macy's and it arrived leaking heavily, leaking all over the place. Got a replacement. Guess what? Leaking all over the place. Got another replacement. And while it's not perfect, at least it's not leaking like a waterfall. Those other 2 were rough. As soon as I got them in, like all of the black had come off of the little stopper here and it was all over the outside of the bottle and just peeling the paint. It was, oof. So yeah, that was fun. Now, what did this get? Out of 5, a 4.37. That's right, that means all the other fragrances past this one scored higher than a 4.37, which is really high. Like Cheech and Chong levels of high. So if you multiply that by 2, that is an 8.74 out of 10. That is what this fragrance has as of right now. And again, it's really easy to wear, solid for fall and winter, compliment puller, good performance, all that stuff. So Infrared Eau de Parfum number 10. Number 9, just barely above that one at 4.38. So yeah, 0.01 above this one. Aqua de Joe Parfum from Giorgio Armani. So that's an 8.76 out of 10. I know, it was real quick there. And this one, it was kind of iffy to me how it was gonna shake out because Fragrantica is pretty well known for any new release that comes out, having people just immediately jump on there and just thumbs them down. So if you go on there and try to look up a new release, there's a good chance that you're gonna see just a whole bunch of people saying they hate it, and then a whole bunch of people saying they love it. And honestly, it's completely useless for a pretty long time because there has to be enough time that passes that people actually get the fragrance in and smell it and they can really review it, you know? For the first I don't know, first long while, Fragrantic is really iffy as far as getting good information from it on there. So with this, the reason I said it was potentially iffy is because this is replacing Acqua di Gio Profumo, basically. And Profumo has been one of the most hyped, loved Fragcom staples since it came out. So it was like, well, which way is it gonna go? You know, are you gonna get a lot of people on there who are, you know, mad that this is replacing Profumo and they're just gonna automatically go, oh, I hate it, and drag the score down? Or is it gonna be something where people come around pretty quickly to enjoying it and score goes up? And that's what happened. So Acqua di Gio Parfum doing really, really well, coming in at number 9. And I think it's really solid. It's close to Profumo, really, really close to Profumo. But obviously with how much people liked Profumo, being close to that is not a bad thing. Great take on Acqua di Gio. I'm still kind of a Profundo guy, you know, but Parfum is solid also, great scent. So number 9, I'm good with that. Number 8 is actually from Lacoste, L1212 Blanco Intense. 4.41 for this one, so that's an 8.82 if you want that in 10 scores of 10. And this one, it doesn't have as many votes as these. And there's gonna be some more fragrances coming up that are ranked really highly, but they don't have as much reach. So you may wanna take this one with a little bit of a grain of salt. And that's not because the fragrance is bad, actually. I think this is really, really, really good. It's just, if it had as many votes as this one, for example, would it still be above this one? Or would it get some votes that drag it down? Because this fragrance, L1212 Blanco Intense, it's not that it's really rare from a brand you've never heard of, it's Lacoste, but obviously more people are gonna seek this out than this. I do love this though. It's a nice mix of classy and sporty. Lacoste fragrance is oftentimes known for being more on that fresh, you know, sporty, casual, gym type of vibe. But this one has a little classy touch to it. So you could wear it in more situations than you might typically think of wearing a Lacoste 2. You have mandarin orange in here, turmeric, and lavender. And you can get it from discounters for a pretty good price, which I think helps also because you don't have to pay too much money to pick that up. So that's number 8. On to 7. These next few are all gonna be really, really, really close as far as the overall score goes. So again, in the future, these could move around a little bit, but as of right now, the next one is Invictus Victory Elixir. That is a 4.42, so 8.84. And this one right here, one of my favorite releases of the year. So of course, seeing this in the top 10, yeah, I'm okay with that. Fantastic smelling scent, nice vanilla in there, extreme compliment puller, good performance, has kind of a sparkle to it. Absolutely love it. It does have some similarities to a bunch of other things out there, but the way it's put together is just masterful. So Invictus Victory, Le Beau de Parfum, Scandal, Pure Excess, 1 Million Elixir, a bunch of different fragrances have drawn some comparisons to this one. I cannot hold on to these things. Fantastic performance, I love it. So Victory Elixir top 10, yeah, all day. The next one got a 4.43 or an 8.86, and this one's on you, okay? This one's on you. This is not on me. This is from Zara Sand Desert at Sunset. Now it's not that I hate this fragrance, I don't, but it is in essence an Angel Share clone. And I just think that when you're talking Angel Share clones, that there are better ones out there for similar money. Now, one thing that this fragrance can claim is that the perfumer of this is the same perfumer that did Angel Share. So same guy did both of them. So it's got that going for it. But to me, performance is not quite there. The quality is not quite there as compared to something like a Camra or some of the other big hitters, the other big Angel Share clones. So would I put this one above these? I would not. But you have spoken, or more specifically, that score on the website has spoken, and it gets placed above Victory Elixir, Acqua di Gio Parfum, and all these others. So we got a clone here at number 6. Number 5 is completely different. Number 5 is actually also a clone. It's not different at all. It's also a clone. But it is different as far as what type of clone it is, what it's cloning, and how it smells. So it is different. but it's the same, but it's different. Jean Lo Immortal here is a clone of L'Immensité by Louis Vuitton, and actually darn good. So while I was whining like a small child over this one I'm kind of okay with when you consider the bang for your buck. Although I'd probably still scoot it down here, just because it is at the end of the day a clone fragrance, so I'd probably down here somewhere. Well, actually that's kind of tricky, isn't it, when you think about it, because bang for buck, like I said, it's fantastic, absolutely killer. But then do you mark it down because it is, at the end of the day, a clone fragrance? It's not an original fragrance, so, you know, do you dock it points for that? Or do you just say, man, this is amazing for the price? It's not really that controversial, but it is something to kind of think about. So that got a 4.46, so pretty comfortably in its position, which is an 8.92, so almost a 9 for that one. This has an amazing opening. Citrus smells great. Again, the bang for your buck is there. The only thing that I could dock that for is for it being a clone. But again, as far as the quality versus the price you pay, hard to beat. Number 4, we are almost in the top 3. It's Guerlain L'Homme Ideal Platine Privé. 4.47 on that one, so an 8.94, real close to a 9. It does smell similar to L'Homme Ideal Cologne, which has been discontinued, but that was one of my favorites in the whole lineup. One of my favorite spring and summer fragrances in general before it went away, especially for the price you used to be able to get it for. It used to be really cheap at discounters. Oof, yeah, that is awesome. Just again, just really good quality. Smooth citrus, almond in there as it dries down. Nice, fresh woodiness. Kind of elegant, but playful at the same time. A good amount of sweetness, but not overdone. A really smooth sweetness. It's not like a bash you in the face bubblegum sweetness. So I'm not gonna argue this one. I'm not gonna argue it. I think that it smells awesome. Number 3, Born in Roma Intense from Valentino. A 4.5, so right at a 9 on the 1 to 10 scale. And this is another one of my favorites from last year, just like Victory Elixir over here. In the air, I think it just smells so good. Really good. It's got vanilla, once again, a good amount of vanilla. There's a lot of fragrances that have come out here lately with a pretty prominent vanilla note. One of the best compliment pullers of the year as far as the new scents go. It really does it all. You can wear this on a night out, you can wear this on a date, you can wear this casually, daytime or evening. Got enough performance that it will cut through the cold, but it's not too heavy, so you could wear it in the spring, fall, pretty easily. Summer, you could pull it off, but maybe you spray a little less. Yeah, awesome stuff. Top 3, I agree. Number 2 is probably gonna surprise you, because number 2 is Le Male Elixir. I got a 4.58, it's a 9.16, and that was my favorite release of the year, especially as far as designers go. And I think it does everything right. It is an evolution of Le Male de Parfum, that kind of honeyed vibe that it has, the deepness, the richness, the boldness, while at the same time being really appealing, wearable. It's great. I'd probably call it a masterpiece, and I try not to do that very often, especially with newer releases, because one of those deals, maybe a couple years down the road, you go like, oh man, that smells a little bit dated now, you know, but I think this deserves it. But that's number 2. Number 1 is this. Amouage Jubilation 40, 4.64 for that one. Oof, that is a 9.28. That is about as high as you are ever gonna see on that website. It really is. And interestingly enough, kind of what I talked about with Aqua de Jo happened with this one also. When it first came out, you know, getting some hate, but then as time went on, more people smelled it and it went zoop and shot up. Now with this one, I'm gonna say the same thing I said about the Lacoste. It does not have anywhere close to as many votes as this one, any of them really. The Lacoste and this one very clearly have the fewest number of votes. And so what that means, of course, is that each vote is weighed heavier than it would be for any of these. So basically, if this one got as many votes as Le Male Elixir, do I think it would stay at number 1? Not sure. This does have a scent profile that's going to lean more toward people that are really into fragrances as compared to, you know, Uomo, Born in Roma Intense, right? But that is really, really, really special. The original Jubilation to me was always like one of the ones you had to have. One of the niche fragrances you had to own. If you were getting a collection and you were getting niche fragrances, you had to have it. There was no other option. If you didn't have it, your collection was not complete. So it was always held in really high regard by me, and pretty much all the friends that I made around like the beginning time of me getting into the community and just talking to people way before the channel and everything. That was one of the fragrances. Like that was one of the ones you had to have, and everybody loved it. Now time has gone on, and that one is not talked about as much as it used to be, but it's still just as good. This is similar to that, quite similar, like you would expect. It's a, you know, higher dosed concentration of the fragrance. So it should smell similar. And it does, and it's what you would expect. It's darker, it's richer, it's super bold and smells rich, just like what a Sultan would wear, right? Maybe doesn't have quite as much of that blackberry off the top as I got in the OG, but you can still pick it out. I mean, it's Jubilation at the end of the day, and Jubilation smells awesome. And so that's number 1. So there they are. Those are the 10 that right now have the highest ratings on Fragrantica. So you gotta let me know if this to you looks about right, or if you look at that and you just think, oh, abomination. Now keep in mind, once again, I was looking at moderate releases to larger releases. So more niche releases, the ones that, you know, only a handful of people are voting on. I didn't include those because those are gonna be skewed very heavily one way or the other. And when I say niche releases there, I don't necessarily mean niche releases. I mean releases that are gonna be just worn by a super small number of people. That could be designers, indie, niche, whatever. So keep that in mind. All right, guys, that'll do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow.